Hello, my name is the Tech Guy. Thank you for tuning in to my very first video. Today I'll be teaching about virtual machines, operating systems, and server software, and how to configure Server 2008 for Windows. Now you may be asking, virtual software, what is that? Is that like fake software because software is already virtual? Well, no. Virtual software, or as it's referred to as virtualization software, is actually software used to emulate a machine for the purposes of booting up an operating system without interfering with the base operating system. So for example, I currently have Windows 8 on my system here, and since I don't want to interfere with Windows 8, I would install a virtualization software or a VM virtual machine to boot my another operating system without interfering with the operating system I have now. So great. But why would you do that? Well, some people like to test certain things before they deploy them. For example, if you're working in a server room and you decide, hey, I want to update my servers, you might want to test it in a virtualized software first before you upload it to your real servers because, well, if there's a bug, you can catch it before it goes out. Now, there are some things you won't be able to catch before deployment, but that's a different video. So, you may be asking, okay, so what's an example of a virtualization software or VM software? Good question. The software, well, an example that I like is Oracle VM VirtualBox, which is a very good, nifty, and sturdy software. You can use different types of virtualization software. I just chose VirtualBox because, well, just easier for me to maneuver with. You could choose that as well. All you have to do is type in virtual machine into Google search and look for the one that says Oracle VM VirtualBox, and just click downloads. Once you click downloads, it should take you to the download screen, and based on the type of system you have, so if you have Windows, you would click this one. If you have OS X, like Lion or just any Mac OS, you would click here. If you have Linux, click here, or if you have Solaris, you just click on this one. Now there's different types like VMware, Virtual PC. We're not gonna really dive into because I'm using VirtualBox, and this is just to show you how to configure a 2008 server operating system. So the first thing is first. Now we're gonna go to our torrent website because, well, we do need the ISO. Now the ISO, just for explanation's sake, is just an archive. It's an archive file of an optical disc. It's a type of disk image composed of data that are written to every sector of a optical disc, but it's put onto our system. So it's no longer a disk image. It's no longer a disk. It's just an image or a file per se. So now we need to download that file. So I'm going to ask if you go to, for example, piratebay.com and you just type in Server 2008, and then you'd find Windows Server 2008 x86 edition. This edition is very important because, the we're using the 32-bit edition, which could see 4 gigs of RAM. So that's the one we're going to be dealing with today. So you're going to click on that. If you have Chrome, you're going to see this happen. You're going to click on Get this torrent. A dialog box is going to pop up. Click Launch Application. If you have a torrent client, if you don't, I recommend you pause the video, go download uTorrent, and just see if you can download this torrent for video sake. You click OK, and you would have it downloading. Now, for me, I already have the software on my system right here, so I wouldn't need to download it again. So, okay, let's say you have your Oracle VM VirtualBox already installed in your system, and you have your Windows Server 2008. You've come pretty far. You're halfway through the battle. You didn't win the war yet, but you're halfway through the battle. Click on Oracle VM VirtualBox, double click. Hey, look, a new version I just downloaded. It's really cool. They update very frequently, evidently. So I already have some servers already here, but it's going to show you how to install it. So when you're starting off fresh, you're not going to have any of these. You're going to have nothing here. It's going to be completely blank. So you're going to click New, this blue icon here. It's going to ask you for a name. So convention's sake, it's going to be called Server 2008 Windows 32-bit because you want to be specific. Once we look at it, we need to know exactly what it is. You're going to click Microsoft Windows because we're loading a Windows Server Edition, and we're going to pick 2008, and we're going to click Next. Now, for me, I have 8 gigs of RAM on my current system, so I'm going to give it around 3 gigs of RAM because I want it to go pretty fast. Now it's based on how much RAM you have in your system, so I recommend you to give it at least 512 megabytes. Now you're going to create a virtual hard drive. Now click create. Now you're going to click next when you see this hard drive file type pop up. It's not really necessary. We're not going to dive into this today about the different types of disks in the VirtualBox Manager. Storage on physical hard drive. This is important. If you don't have a very big hard drive, you should click on fixed size and click next. If not, click on dynamically allocated. I'm going to click on dynamically allocated. I have a pretty big hard drive. I'm going to give it 25 gigabytes because, well, I have the room. So that's just for now. Now dynamically means that's going to install. And it's going to have 25 gigabytes of space. Now, if I need more space, it's going to create more. The more space I need is the more space it would request from the hard drive. And there's no clear line as to how much it can have. It can actually have up until the amount of my hard drive. So if I keep putting stuff on there, it'll keep growing and growing and growing and growing. Not really suggested, but just something I'm doing now for the video's sake. Alright. Now, before we continue, because we have our version here, that's maximize the screen. The one we're using is Server 2008 Windows 32-bit. So we're going to click on Settings, the orange icon, and then we're going to go on System. Start loading, and I just want to unclick floppy. Just a thing of mine, I decided to unclick floppy. Now what I'm going to do, you don't have to do it if you'd like to, I'm going to give it 2 cores. Now, I currently have a 4-core processor, so I'm going to give it 2 cores because it's going to run a little bit faster. Acceleration, everything's good here. Storage. Now here's the important part that you have to pay attention to. So when you download your Windows Server 2008, please put it on your desktop because we're going to need to use it at this point. So if you didn't put it on your desktop, pause the video now. Find the Windows Server 2008 file and bring it onto your desktop for me. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to click on the disk here. First, we're going to click on Controller IDE, click where it says empty, click on this disk, and you may not have this option here, so I'm going to ask you to click on Choose Virtual CD, DVD disk file, click on your desktop, then you should see Windows Server 2008. Click on that, and then click OK. What that'll basically do is basically when your system boots up, it will boot from that file, or from that image file, I'm sorry, because an ISO, which is what we're using, is an image file of Windows Server 2008 that we have to install. Now you may be asking, what is the point of Windows Server 2008? It's basically an updated version of Windows Server that allows system administrators or network administrators or server administrators to basically go into a server and have more flexibility, have more rights, more accesses, and allows them to maneuver through the system. Gives them some capabilities. For example, it allows them to install multiple operating systems over a network instead of going and plugging in a disk into each individual computer like the old days. Like, you want to reinstall Windows 8 on a room of computers, but you don't have the time to just go in and pop the disk in and wait for it to install. So this is one of the many functions of a server. Now, my Server 2008 is running. I have a nice interface here. I'm going to maximize so you can see a little bit better. View, adjust window size. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong thing. Switch to full screen, switch. Nice. So it's going to ask us these funky questions like language to install, of course, English. Come on, Windows, step your game up, be more intelligent. Time and currency, again, English. Keyboard, I mean, Windows should know these things already. Don't know what's happening. Well, it doesn't usually know these things, but I'm just saying it should. It's technology, right? We're in the 21st century. So click on install now. Once you click that, you're going to see the hourglass show up. That means something is loading. If you didn't know that, I suggest you probably, I don't know, just probably X out this video and gouge your eyes out with a screwdriver. I know that's very violent. I'm sorry. Don't gouge your eyes out. Just do some background study. No, gouge your eyes out, really. Do that. But, okay, so it's loading. So I just want to explain while we're waiting what a server is and, a complete definition. A server is a system, not a computer. It's a system with software and suitable hardware. It has to have the correct hardware space and the correct soft specifications that actually speaks across a computer network to provide help or to provide a network service. So, it could help out with different network questions or different network issues. For example, a server is where you actually have your information for websites like Facebook. So it can actually support things like Facebook, things like, you just want to set up a website, you set up a server. And it will just need the proper software and the proper hardware to run that. So now that we're up and running, we're going to click on Windows 2008 Server Edition Enterprise. We're going to click Next, click I accept, and click Custom Advanced. Alright, so for this part, I want to show you how to partition a drive. Now let's stop. What is a partition, you're asking? If you're asking that question, that's what Google's for. But I'll give you this one, just this once. A partition is a special space in a hard drive that says this is my space, this is your space. It's basically like two brothers drawing a line down the room and saying this is my side of the room, this is your side of the room. Windows has that same problem. So, well, not problem, but has that same thing going on. So you could actually partition your drive so you can have room for different things. So I like to partition my drive. I prefer to have one half of my drive for my operating system and one half for my files. In case my operating system goes down, I could just reinstall it and I would have my files unharmed. So they're asking me for a size. I'm going to actually cut this in half. So it's going to be 1, 2, and I'll leave it at 6. Apply. And you'll see what happened. I clicked new and then I actually set the size to 1, 2 because it was 25 gigs previously, and I just cut it in half. Well, not really half, but a little bit in half. So this has 12.3 gigabytes, and this currently has 12.7 gigabytes. So that's cool. That's actually pretty good. So one I'll use for my operating system. The other one I will actually utilize for just my regular files. When I put stuff on my server, like my website or some information, I wouldn't, in case my operating system goes down, I wouldn't lose everything. It would still be there. I wouldn't lose it. So click next, and then this will happen. So now it's installing, and let's come back when it's done installing.